Tell me about how you survived mentally during the years of, like how did you keep yourself focused? How did you pick yourself up? And tell me about, I mean, what was your lowest moment before you started to get the break, started to feel like there was some traction?
Yeah, there were so many lows. The first couple of years, I didn't really care. It wasn't ever going to be my big business. I was working summer jobs and I was just trying to get the company going because the reason I didn't give up, now, like the first year I sold 28 pairs, right? Right. Now that's a good sign to give up, but I just bought 500 pairs, so I couldn't give up because I had all my investors' money tied up, in the bedroom with another 480 pairs. But I I had my first real big disappointment when I'd I'd been through several investors that couldn't, I started growing and like doubling every year, and the small investors I had couldn't bankroll the next round of purchasing, right? And the new investors I'd find didn't want the old ones, so I had to do a deal to buy them out, and now I got new ones. And this happened a couple of times, and I finally got these guys up in Anaheim who were going to bring in a container load and bankroll, but they were also going to run the warehouse and the purchasing and the collections and all that. And I was going to be a full-time salesman now, and this is like 5 or 6 years into the business. And the deal we made that we were all going to share the company 25% each, right? But I didn't, there was a clause that I didn't get my share certificate actually issued until I finished up a trademark lawsuit that I had with his other little company. And I knew I'd win that. So we did the deal together. And we moved all the product into their big warehouse distribution center in Anaheim. And like after we got it all set up, I went back on the road to, down to Huntington Beach to one of my good surf shops. And I walked in and the guy says, "Hey, Brian, I heard you sold the business." And I went, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I called an order in this morning. They said you don't own the company anymore." I said, "You kidding me? They said that?" And I couldn't wait to get out to the Shell gas station next door because this is before cell phones, right? And I called up Neil at Anaheim. I said, "Neil, what the hell are you telling people?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You're telling them I don't own the company." And he said, "Well, you don't." And I said, "Yes, I do. You're my three new partners." And he goes, "Well, no, technically you don't get your stock certificate issued." And I just hung up and I went back to San Diego straight away. And I pulled out the contract and I read it and I reread it and I thought, "Oh, shit. Technically, I'm not an owner of the company." And I just went into this humongous depression. And for like 3 or 4 days, I didn't talk to anybody outside, the house, just my wife. And I think it was about the fourth night. I was watching TV. I was lying on my back on the living room floor, and my wife was on the couch. And when the TV finished, I clicked it off, and I rolled over on my stomach and got up on my hands and knees, and I started crawling to the bedroom, right? And Laura, my wife, just looked at me and says, "You get up now and walk to bed like a man." And she scared the crap out of me, right? And she yelled, and like as I came up, it was like coming out of a fog, and I just said, "Oh my God, there's so much more to life than this crappy little sheepskin company." And so that night I slept like a baby, and I'm going to answer the question you asked me now. How did I come back from that shit? Well, I'd bought a book on yoga way back in the late 70s, and just doing the yoga stretches made me breathe really really hard because they burned, and that led me to meditation. So I've now got a couple of years of meditation in me, and so I was sort of wondering, okay, what'll I sell? What'll I do with my life? Real estate, no. Business broker, maybe. Accountant, never. And then I thought, sales. I love sales, and I got these goosebumps, which I relate to all through my book, because every time I get these goosebumps, right? And I thought, oh my God, I've come to love sales. And now what can I sell? And I
And
thought,
in the beginning, you didn't like sales. You were
oh, I was
intimidated.
terrified of sales. Yeah, it
Yeah.
took a lot for me to get on the road, but I'm just, because we got a short time here to talk about it, um, the the bottom line is I just ate humble pie and I went back to the guys at Anaheim and I said, look, I may never own this company, but I tell you what, I'm going to try and get a pair of UGG boots on every single person in America. And so we agreed that they wouldn't tell anybody else that I'd sold the company because I didn't care about the deal. I just didn't want all the, store owners to think that. So went back on the road and, after a month I came back and Neil handed me an envelope. It was a check for $5,000. He said, that's your commissions, right? And that's the first money I ever pulled out of the business. That was 5 years into it. And then the next month I got back and there's a check for 10 grand. The next month a check for 10 grand. And the philosophy that I use in when I speak from stage, I have a slide that says, nearly always your most disappointing disappointments will become your greatest blessings, right? So you can imagine how disappointed I was losing the company and realizing I didn't even own it. But I had a choice then. I could have just walked away. I could have started selling cars or something, right? But no, I chose. This was my passion. I knew how many people in America, the potential market, and I just decided, no, I'm going to go for it. So eating humble pie was a bit of a tough call at the time because I was really bummed that these guys were treating me this way. But nevertheless, the bigger picture is where I gravitated to, and that's when you have that vision. Even the guys in the office in Anaheim, they never had the vision. It was all dollars and cents and transactions, but I had the vision of seeing everyone in America, everyone in the world actually, wearing a pair of Uggs, and so it was that sort of defined all of my struggles was, damn it, I'm not giving up.